Okay, I'm going to try to go through my pack here. Starting here, we got the normal battery pack, fire starter, lighter, compass, water purification, toiletries that I always carry for every trip, flashlight, Garmin, that kind of stuff. New for winter camping and mountaineering stuff, I'm switching to Nalgene bottles because if I'm melting snow, it's going to be easier to pour the water into there from the stove. I'm just going to use this like my coffee cup. Carry extra fuel in the winter because you're going to melt snow for water, so you're using your stove more. The Nalgene can also be filled with hot water at bedtime, tucked into your sleeping bag. So that's I don't know, just a tip to stay warm. Sunglasses are a must in the winter. The snow is blinding if the sun is out. Shovel. Everybody doesn't need one necessarily if you're just going camping, but you got to have one to set up camp. Dig out space for your fire pit, vestibule areas in the tent, things like that. Yeah, we'll need a shovel. Like I said, we don't all need shovels, we can share. Winter sleeping bag. This one's a 0 degree. I've got 3 of those, and I've got actually 2 30-degree bags that if I were to stuff them together, one inside the other, it would probably be good down to 0 degrees as well. The rest of my sleeping kit, of course, the tent poles. I carry 4 of these snow stakes in the winter. A regular tent stake is not going to stick in the snow and hold anything. So, but if you bury these, they're long and wide and have quite a bit of resistance. That can be improvised with sticks you find or whatever, anything. Ziploc bags full of snow work. Bury those with a line to your tent. Yeah, any kind of improvisation like that works. My pillow, of course, that's my sleeping mat there, my sleeping pad. That's got an R value of 8, which is the highest on the market. Keeps me really super warm and insulated well from the ground. I have slept comfortably with an R value of 6.5. My old sleeping pad is a 4.5 combined with this mat. Gave me 6.5 and I was comfortable. And so that's my spare right there, is that somebody who needs to, they can use this and my old sleeping pad and you'll be warm enough with those. I always carry this out when I'm winter camping, even if I don't need it to sleep on. Around the fire pit, you can build snow benches around your fire pit, which is really comfy to sit by the fire and chat, but you don't want to sit right on the snow, and having a couple of these to lay out for people to sit on makes it really comfortable, keeps you warm while you're sitting by the fire. And then at like in front of your tent, if you're, as you're getting in and out of your tent, it's nice to have something like that so you're not just kneeling in the snow all the time. So I always carry that in addition to my sleeping pad when I'm snow camping. Clothing, I have some real lightweight base layers, merino wool, and then just like sport spandex leggings, long underwear that I wear. They're real lightweight because when I'm hiking and moving, I'm going to be warm enough. Wool socks, and all the wool's merino wool because it's comfortable and it doesn't itch. It's a little more expensive than some of the other options, but it's what works for me. my gaiters to keep snow off my lower legs and out of my boots. I will wear my Ranger as a hard shell to keep me dry and the wind out and that kind of thing. While I'm hiking, I typically just wear the pants as my pants for the trip if I'm snow camping. And then I've got the shell jacket on and off as I need it if the wind's blowing or whatever. Like I said, I stay warm enough as long as I'm hiking and moving that all I really want to do is cut the wind out with those. And if you're under trees, snow fall down your neck or something, sometimes the hood's nice to keep snow off your neck and off your legs as it, whatever. I have a second base layer, this little mid-weight layer, and an extra pair of socks. Typically these will be, I'll keep these just for sleeping so that they stay, you know, when I get settled into camp and I'm not doing anything, I'm gonna eat dinner, whatever, I can change into these so I'm dry, and then when I go to bed, I'm dry and sort of cleaner, not wearing the clothes I've been sweating in all day and that might be damp. But they also serve as a backup. If I'm getting cold, if my feet are getting cold, I can put on a second pair of socks. If I'm just getting too cold, I have a second pair, another layer, heavier layer that I can put on. And again, these are all merino wool layers. Gloves, I've got these Outdoor Research insulated winter gloves. They're waterproof. Yeah, they're waterproof, they're insulated, and on really, really cold days, they have these liners that can be worn inside of them in addition. Mittens are actually warmer where your fingers are together. They share body heat. It's just a matter of personal preference. I picked these up because I need to build I've got a leather palm for handling ropes and carabiners, and I have fingers for dexterity and that kind of stuff, so that was my choice there. Carry a buff and a stocking hat as, you know, a little extra. If it's chilly, I can add a little extra layer around my head and neck to stay warm. Let's see, mid-weight coat. I have this synthetic puffy jacket. It's pretty lightweight. It's usually, in addition to the base layers, this is usually all I need. Even sitting around camp, I can put on my heavier base layers and this coat, and if there's a fire going, I'm fine. I do have this big, giant puffy coat. I've only pulled that out. I do take it. I've only pulled it out a couple times. At that point, if I didn't have it, you know, where I'm getting cold enough that I want to get this big coat, if I didn't have it, the alternative is crawling in my sleeping bag, and I'll be warm. So there's that. Yeah, those are my coats. Winter travel in the snow has its own considerations, and you'll need some, for traveling in deep snow, you need some assortment of these kinds of things, or maybe skis. I don't ski yet. It's on my list, but not yet. But snowshoes, micro spikes out in front here. They just slip over your boots, give you a little extra traction. Crampons if things are really crazy. Ice axe, you know, if you're on a slope. And trekking poles, whether you got skis or snowshoes, you're going to want poles with snow baskets. Okay, final things that go in my pack. All my fancy new mountaineering gear, depending where I'm going. Might have that extra 20 pounds of shit. And right about now is when you start wondering how do I carry all of that mess in either a really big friggin' backpack or in a sled. Let's see if I can back up here so you can see it. So the sled works really good. Can lash my gear into that, or some gear, and the poles clip on to the belt of my hip belt of my backpack, and it just drags behind me. The poles keep it from running me over on the downhill. And at the point where you're opting for the sled and starting to load that thing up, that ends your weight restrictions. So now I'm going to bring, you know, maybe a saw and an axe and for building fires, and you know, like the sky's the limit. Bring whatever you want, because it doesn't matter if I carry 200 pounds of gear out. It just sits in the sled and drags behind me. It's easy. So that's my winter camping stuff, as much as I can think of.